How does the co-op works in Remnant? Or even better, why the co-op works in Remnant? Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video on Remnant from the Ashes. If you haven't heard of this new amazing Soulslike shooter game with randomized maps and encounters, loot, weapons and awesome skills, I highly recommend you to do so by clicking the video in the top right corner of the screen right now. Instead, if you know already what we're talking about, just stick around because today we're gonna get a deeper look into one of Remnant's coolest feature, the Coop. Remnant from the Ashes is just around the corner, and without a shadow of a doubt, it looks to be a very challenging game, with tons of different enemies and many different maps that will put you under pressure in many different situations. Many players love the challenge and are totally fine to face it by themselves, and honestly guys, hats off to you if you're one of them, but many others prefer instead to sail for adventure with their trustworthy companions, or just team up with some random players they met along the journey. The point is, they want somebody to be with them, either for having an easier experience or just like myself because playing together is just more fun. Playing with other players is simple. Remnant is designed around a drop-in, drop-out multiplayer system for seamless co-op. What does it mean? I have no idea. I'm reading this directly from their website, so I have no idea, but don't worry, I'll work on it. Game while also World 15 join players spawn and come for World 15 barracks. Your character is an extension of yourself. Our obligation is one for your team, at least inspire potential future leaders combination for everyone to work towards. Ah, now I got it. Basically, if you like to host, you can invite friends to join your current game through the friend list feature, or create a game lobby that only friends can find. If you instead prefer to join someone else, you can connect to friends through Remnant's game lobby, or you can join a random player through the game matchmaking system. If you are the host and you are at World 13, the human base, joining players will spawn alongside you inside the base. Instead, if the host is out in the wild, all the players will first enter in a sort of spectator mode, and then they will magically appear after the active player will rest at one of the bonfires, checkpoints. One of the checkpoints. Once entered in someone else's session, your entire character will be carried over into the multiplayer session. This includes your archetype, weapons, armors, traits, cosmetics, items, resources, shoes, socks, dirty pants, and more. During your time spent in that world, also you will be allowed to keep any items and loot you can find. Also, any loot during the entire session will be shared across all team members. Let's say for example that Jimmy joins a session, and in that session there's a very hard dungeon that he was totally unprepared to face. If, during their quest, one of the other players who was instead well prepared kills one of the enemies that drops a very powerful legendary hammer and picks it up, everybody, including Jimmy, will receive the weapon and will be allowed to keep it and use it when back to their own world. Too bad that Jimmy is a 12-year-old who chose the hunter at the beginning of the game, only thinking that the hood made him look cool. Such a shame, Jimmy. Such a shame. Adding extra players to the team, however, won't make the difficult level drop. Instead, devs assures that the game can only become more challenging. In other words, it won't make the game easier. Remnant can in fact smell your noob scent and will automatically scale the strength and frequency of the enemies in order to crush you for good. The more players you play with, the more variety will be in the encounters you have. Different type of enemies will force you to test different approaches and to work in a perfect dance of pure sync with your teammates in order to achieve victory. Or just run and shoot. Run and shoot! Run and shoot them all, for God's sake! But in compensation for getting more difficult, the game will offer you a higher chance to drop higher tier rewards when playing together with other people. So at least it's fair in that regard. Now let's talk about friendly fire. For those of you who fear that multiplayer with random will be just a mass murder mess of death and blood, getting swarmed by enemies and having bullets going right through your body delivered from your companions who are trying to save you from the hordes of enemies around you, fear not. Cause the devs tuned the game accordingly. Despite friendly fire in fact being part of the game, it will only deal 25% of the actual damage, and it will be only applied to guns. In other words, a team of 3 melee characters won't kill on each other while trying to bring down a powerful foe swinging their hammers like no tomorrow. And also, incompetent companions won't headshot you while you're having a good time hitting enemies with your great sword because you are too cool to use guns. Yay! Take this, trolls! Try to troll us now. Anyway, this is it for today's video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like down below. It takes less than a second and helps a lot with the success of the video. Subscribe for more Remnants from the Ashes content because they are coming. And as always, I'll see you all in the next video. Ocans out.